Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief keeps you informed about what's happening in Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and Maryland. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and, of course, local weather. Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Monday, September 30th, 2024. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief presented by Annapolis Subaru and the SPCA of Anne Arundel County. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. Wow, I guess that means tomorrow is October. Where did the year go? And I do hope that all the city and county officials are having a fine time in Sweden. But we are here in Annapolis on a Monday, and we do have some news for you. So, shall we? A man was shot and killed on Thursday evening inside an Annapolis condominium complex on Georgetown Road. Officers arrived to find the man on the living room floor with a gunshot wound, and paramedics did declare him deceased at the scene. The Annapolis police are still investigating the incident with no suspect identified, yet they say there is no danger to the public. Following up on a tragic story from a few months ago in Edgewater, the family of Nancy Ann Houston, who was killed in a double stabbing earlier in the year, was granted custody of her daughter. Houston's husband, Dr. James Houston, was arrested Friday and charged with her murder. Police say that the couple were going through a contentious divorce. They attacked each other with knives, and Nancy Ann Houston died from multiple stab wounds, while James Houston survived and has been recovering. Legal battles do continue over custody of their child and Nancy Ann Houston's assets. In sports, Navy's junior quarterback Blake Horvath led the team to a 41-18 win over UAB on Saturday, improving Navy's record to 4-0. Horvath passed for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns and rushed for 84 yards. The defense also played a strong role with key tackles, sacks, and interceptions. Navy is going to face Air Force next week in one leg of the battle for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. And I, like many others, did not expect Navy to come out of the gate this year with a 4-0 record. But hey, go Navy, beat Army. Registration is now open for the Fish for a Cure charity fishing tournament scheduled for November 9th on the Chesapeake Bay. Proceeds from the event will support cancer care programs at Luminous Health's Anne Arundel Medical Center. Following the competition, a shore party will feature live entertainment and an awards ceremony. Boats are registering now, and tickets to the shore party are selling fast, so you do want to get on that. fishforacure.org. Our weekly poll last week asked about the best annual events in the area, and Midnight Madness, the whole St. Patrick's Day celebration with the Hooli, the parade, and the Shamrock the Dock, and then the boat shows came in for the top 3. The polls are posted weekly on the front page of eyeonannapolis.net in the upper right corner, and there is a link there for the archive polls as well, so you can check them out. And if you have any ideas for a future poll, send it my way. Hopefully you caught our Canines and Crosstreks on Friday with Carla, with a K, a really cool little chihuahua looking for her forever home. If you missed it, give it a listen and then give the SPCA a call. And we also dropped a bonus pod with everyone's favorite maestro, Jose Luis Novo from the Annapolis Symphony Orchestra, who is celebrating his 20th year of waving that baton as the ASO kicks off their 63rd season. On Saturday, on the Local Business Spotlight, we chatted with Randy from RXNT, a medical tech firm rooted right here in Annapolis with a great history of giving back to the community. And I guess that's a wrap. Thank you first and foremost, and a quick thank you to our sponsors for the Daily News Brief: Annapolis Subaru, the SPCA of Anne Arundel County, Solar Energy Services, Hospice of the Chesapeake, Fish for a Cure, and Macmedics up in Severna Park. Ann Covington is here with her Monday Money Report, and George Young from DC MDVA Weather is also here with the only locally forecasted weather report you should care about, and hopefully he'll have some perspective on Helene. All of that's coming up in just a bit, so hang around.
Fish for a day, party for a night, all for a great cause. Don't miss Fish for a Cure's 18th annual fishing tournament and shore party, Saturday, November 9th at Safe Harbor, Annapolis. Register to fish and raise funds for the Cancer Survivorship Program at Luminous Health Anne Arundel Medical Center's Gayton and Joanne D. Cesaris Cancer Institute. All funds raised directly benefit cancer patients and their families. Register your boat or get your shore party ticket for fishforacure.org. Again, that's fishforacure.org. When you live near Annapolis, you know how fickle the weather can be. So you need a truly local forecast that's accurate and reliable. Forecast right here in Annapolis. DCMDVA weather is not just for today, but for the rest of the week and the weekend too. Now here's George Young of DCMDVA weather with the weather outlook for today and beyond.
Hey everyone, this is George with DCMDVA Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Monday, September 30th, last day of September 2024, and we'll have to deal with more clouds and probably some more rain as well to close out the month as the remnants of what was Hurricane Helene continue to spin in the eastern U.S., and what an awful storm Helene was and will continue to prove to be for so many in the southeastern U.S. for a very, very long time, as the death toll continues to rise with many people still unaccounted for, and weather models suggest there could possibly be another tropical storm or hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico later this week or weekend, potentially bringing more rain, wind, and surge to areas that were just affected by Helene, which would obviously only add to the problems millions are already facing, especially in western North Carolina, in places like Asheville, Chimney Rock, Black Mountain, Boone, Hendersonville, and much, much more. Here's one stat from Asheville, North Carolina, to provide some numerical context for what just occurred there. Prior to last week, Asheville had not recorded back-to-back days of 3 inches or more of rainfall, with weather records going back to 1869. But from Wednesday through Friday of last week, the 25th, through the 27th of September 2024, the National Weather Service's recorded totals for Asheville were 4.09 inches of rain on Wednesday, 5.98 inches on Thursday, and then another 4.11 inches on Friday. Some places further up in the North Carolina mountains even recorded 20 to 30 inches of rain over that period. It's worth noting that the Wednesday rainfall in the southern Appalachians was more of a pre-Helene event related to a cold front in the region, in which tropical moisture from the south streamed northward into the frontal boundary ahead of Helene. So it was a bit of a 1-2 punch for sure, but regardless, the resulting rainfall numbers simply ended up being unmanageable and totally unfair to people in that region. Needless to say, when adding in high storm surge totals for much of the Gulf side of Florida and high wind speeds over a large multi-state area, Helene will go down as one of the worst natural disasters of all time, with the Annapolis region now set to see Helene's final moments as the storm's remnants bring one last shot of clouds and a bit of rain to the region today and tomorrow, before great weather then returns Wednesday through at least Friday or Saturday, though all eyes will have to turn back toward the Gulf of Mexico this week for another potential impactful tropical storm or hurricane. Okay, that's all for today. This is George Young of DCMDVA Weather. Do all you can to make it a great day out there today. Stay healthy and be safe, and be sure to follow DCMDVA Weather on Facebook and X for updates each day, along with the website at dcmdvaweather.info, so you can always stay weather informed.
Coping with advanced illness can be overwhelming, and determining the best options for a loved one isn't always so easy. But here at Hospice of the Chesapeake, your hometown hospice, we want you to know you do have a choice. You can choose exactly who provides the care and the type of care you receive, and it's your decision when and where your loved one receives that care. We have served our community, family, and friends for over 40 years. We are there when you need us. Learn how we can help at hospicechesapeake.org.
You work hard for your money. Is your money working hard for you? Managing and investing it can be confusing. Ann Covington, a financial planner from CovingtonAlsina, has been helping people make sense of it for nearly 20 years. Are you ready? Now, here's your Monday Money Report.
This is Ann Covington of CovingtonAlsina with your Monday Money Report. The market set new record highs last week as the Personal Consumption Expenditures, or PCE, report was released. This is the Federal Reserve Bank's preferred measure of inflation. In August, the index fell by more than expected to 2.2%, the lowest level since February 2021. In addition, to counter a sharp slowdown in growth in China, the government there approved a large stimulus package. The Federal Reserve is actually a group of banks, 12 in total, spread out across the United States. Together, they form the Federal Reserve System. The banks conduct economic research, process paper checks, and serve as the bank of the United States government, maintaining accounts for the U.S. Treasury and conducting government securities auctions. Beyond that, the Federal Reserve banks are the lender of last resort, available to lend money to commercial banks to meet their regulatory requirements for cash on hand. In addition to the normal executives you would expect for each bank, there is an overarching governing body called the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. There are 7 members appointed by the president for 14-year terms. The Board of Governors also all serve on the Federal Open Market Committee, or FOMC. Together with the chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and 4 other bank chairs, the FOMC sets monetary policy for the United States. Unique among central banks worldwide, the Fed has a dual mandate. Most countries' central banks are only concerned about price stability, or inflation. In the U.S., the Fed has set a goal of 2% average inflation. The Fed must also work towards maximum employment, rather than just considering inflation. The dual mandate is partially why rate cuts took so long. The Fed was focused on the inflation side of the coin and held rates until the job market started to cool. With inflation falling back towards their goal and the job market tightening, the Fed has more room to cut interest rates. What does this mean for individuals? For savers, it may be time to lock in longer-term CDs or bonds, or consider moving towards riskier asset classes. For borrowers, dropping rates reduce the cost of credit cards and new loans. As interest rates continue to drop, some borrowers may want to evaluate refinancing their mortgages or other debt. Your action item this week is to review your credit card spending, interest rates, and fees. If you pay an annual fee for a card, consider if you're receiving enough to offset the fee. If you're carrying debt, you may want to look for a new card or ask the card company to lower your rate. Be sure to check out our website at CovingtonAlsina.com or our Facebook page for more information and to register for our upcoming educational events. Don't forget to drop by our office with a sweater, fleece, or sweatshirt for just one sweater. CovingtonAlsina is a registered investment advisor. Information presented for educational purposes only is not intended to make an offer, solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk unless otherwise stated and not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. And if you don't have a financial advisor, come talk to us. This is Ann Covington with CovingtonAlsina.
Hello, energy consumers. This is Rick Peters, president of Solar Energy Services. Is all this talk of inflation making you uneasy? Me too, especially the uncertainty. How bad will it eat into my future purchasing power? Well, don't feel helpless because solar energy can give you some financial control. By installing and owning your solar system, you can lock out electricity cost inflation by locking in your electricity price for more than 25 years. Many of our inflation-fighting clean energy systems offset 100% of the annual electricity demands. Customers frequently add electric vehicle charging and backup batteries to their solar projects, providing them inexpensive auto fuel and additional energy security for the home. Freeze energy inflation in its tracks by committing to affordable, clean solar energy. Call us today at 410-923-6090 or visit us at solarsaves.net. But don't wait another minute. Sunshine's a wasted.
Sunshine, sunshine, nothing else can make me feel so fine.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues, this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And don't forget about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. And make sure you follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. This Daily News Brief podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.